Hi everybody and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist and internationally published author, helping take your life and your business, your health, fitness, mindset and body from where you are right now to where it is that you absolutely must be. And today you have caught me in the mobile studio. I am going into the hospital again this morning to see my daughter. If you're a long-term listener, you will know that she's been in and out of hospital. It's her fourth time in over the past, 4 months, I suppose, as she continues to battle what she's going through. And it's really quite tough. And it's a Saturday today. My schedule's a bit freer, so I'm going to spend a few more hours with her today than I normally can. And I guess what we're going through, her mum and I, with what she's going through, has prompted today's session. And that is to challenge authority, if you like, to challenge the norm. Because you don't go in and out 4 times when hopefully you only go in and out once. And keep doing the same things each time, what are you going to get? You're going to get the same outcome. So it's frustrating as a parent to watch what's going on, and then if you step back from it, you think, well, surely they can look at it as professionals and say, this approach is not working. And it's not just for our daughter, it's like for other kids as well. It's like, hang on, this isn't working. Or maybe it's working partially for some people, maybe it does work for some, but from what we're seeing, it's just not working. Yeah, it's filling a certain part, but it's not having long-term success. And so what we've done is reached out to the different organisations and just challenged them and said, look, we need to do something different. It's not a criticism, but we need to do this differently because this isn't helping. And I think sometimes, unless you stand up and you challenge the way that people do things, they just expect that that's the way that they do it. Let's face it, it's kind of like a sausage machine. They keep just churning them out. It's a cookie cutter approach. It's the same approach applied to everybody. And I guess that's similar to the approach we have with schooling our kids, right? I'm going to say that the school system is designed to teach 80% or cater. It's designed around 80% of the students. It's not catering for the bottom 10%. It's not catering for the top 10%. It's catering for the 80% of the people in the middle. Because if you've got a classroom full of, like in classrooms here in Australia, you're probably looking at 25 to maybe 30 students per one teacher. I'm sure you can remember a time in your schooling, I certainly can, where there was one really disruptive, say naughty kid that was in the class. And where did most of the teacher's attention go to? That person. Now, if you were having some struggles with understanding, like I was, like there were just certain concepts I just didn't get, like a lot of that history stuff, I just wasn't interested in it. Science, I wasn't interested in it, didn't understand the concepts. And the only thing that I really learned from those early years of learning was rope learning. Remember it, and that's it. Don't learn the principles, but just, remember it. Don't forget it. And so I would go over and over and over, just trying to remember things. Not trying to understand the principles, but just try to remember answers to things. And of course, that's got a short-term solution, doesn't it? The better long-term is to understand, okay, this is why this is the case. Another example of where that's a good idea is, for many years, I used to hate multiple choice questions. I thought, what's the point? You're not really learning anything from multiple choice. You have normally two that you can immediately discount because they're stupid, and then you've got maybe two, assuming it's a full multiple choice test, you've got two that you can pick between. And so, you try and remember the best that you can and then have a guess. But when you really understand a topic, and I learned this many, many years later, when you really understand a topic, you'll always get the right answer. Because you're reading the question, you can see they've changed a word or something here or there, and you know that what the exact answer is. So then I changed my tune to say, well, actually, multiple choice does still really test your thorough understanding of a topic. So I think it's really important to challenge. So we did that, and there's many people. There's probably, across 2 organisations, there's probably 12 people that are involved with managing my daughter. And what we've appealed to them to do is to come up with a different plan of managing it. Like, not every child is the same, so you can't just apply that cookie cutter approach to every single person. It's like the work that I do, weight loss, body transformation. You can't apply the same cookie cutter to every person. Every person I have doesn't get the same meal plan, for instance, because everybody likes different foods. People have different tolerances. There are different approaches to be taking. But unless you take the time to understand that, then you're always going to apply the cookie cutter. What do I mean by cookie cutter? Just in case you're wondering, what am I talking about? You know how they have those, when you're pressing out a cookie and you've got like a steel rim that you push it into the pastry and you form the same pattern over and over and over, and that's how you make your cookies that are always the same shape. That's what I'm talking about. But with the health of my daughter at the moment, certainly there are some elements of cookie cutter that you can apply to every child or every person. We're talking about kids in this case, where those principles are fundamentally the same. There's principles that are the same. If I'm feeding somebody nutritionally, then there are principles that are always the same. I want you to be getting in proteins. I want you to be getting in plant-based food. I want you to be getting in high-energy foods at certain times of the day. Those principles don't change, but the way that we make them up does. Then when it comes to the type of exercise that people do, that also changes. So another example, I've just started working with a 74 and a 77-year-old couple, and many people would say, well, these are the things that you must do with them. You can't get them doing this, you can't get them doing that. I'll use this as an example. A deadlift, for instance. You would never get an elderly person doing a deadlift. A lot of gyms won't allow people to do deadlifts. Why? Because people can injure themselves. I say can in uppercase, bold, underline, because they can, but people can also injure themselves doing a bicep curl. They can also injure themselves getting on and off a bike. They can also injure themselves on a treadmill. It just comes down to the coaching that you give them. And the problem for gyms is that they don't coach the people around how to do a deadlift, and people just see people doing deadlifts on a video and they go out and try and do it, but they don't know the coaching cues to avoid getting the serious injury. And so, guess what? I had this couple doing deadlifts. Now, the gentleman, he can't do them because of his knees. So I give him an alternative to do it, where he works the same muscles, but he's in a much safer position. But the female, she was able to do it quite comfortably. I thought, how exciting. Now you would say, well, why would you get them to do a deadlift? You don't know what a deadlift is. It's a weight on a floor where you stand up, you grab it, you squat down, pick it up, stand up with it. That's it. So why would you ever have an elderly person doing that? Well, because it's a very functional move. How often does anyone squat down and pick something up off the floor? How often do you put your shoes on? How often do you pick something up off the floor, dirty clothes or a towel or something like that? You do it all the time, multiple times a day. How often do you squat down and get something out of a cupboard? We do it all the time. It's very, very functional. Sure, it's not like we've got a deadlift bar set up in our house and in our kitchen, our bedrooms and stuff, and we're doing that all the time. No, but that's the exercise we use to strengthen the muscles for the function. And so that's what we do. And if they can't do that, we find a way to do it. So it's the principles of what I'm working with each person to make sure that they're functionally strong, they're also achieving the body transformation and health transformation that they want to achieve. It's just a different approach with each person, but the principles stay the same. Where we've challenged here with the management of our daughter is that you keep doing the same things, saying the same things, expecting a completely different outcome. And what I see with a bunch of the other kids that are also recurring, because you see them multiple times, is that you're not tapping into their mindset. You're not changing that. It's like you're putting a Band-Aid on, sending them home, the Band-Aid comes off, they come back. You put the Band-Aid back on. It's just an endless circle and cycle. And each time, some of the issues become even stronger because you're just applying the same approach and expecting a different outcome. And so we challenged it and said, look, this just doesn't make sense. Look, there might be evidence to indicate that this is working for some people, but look, it's not working here, so can we please do it differently? And so they've listened. And so I have a lot of respect for them for doing that, because they just want to keep using the cookie cutter. And we've said, no, you can't keep doing that. So we don't have a full plan in place because, as I said, there's about 12 medical professionals that are involved here. Chances are she may come out of hospital next week and we don't have a plan. And chances are she'll probably go back into hospital with a week after that, maybe. But I'm hoping within a fortnight's time from today that we do have a plan that is solid, that we can go forward with confidence and know that it's making a difference. One of the things that I was talking about my daughter with last night, because we live like an hour away from the hospital, sometimes it's more on traffic, but I'm on a Saturday and the traffic looks pretty good so far. What I was talking, so I talk to her every day. I see her in person every second day. One of the things we talked about last night was about giving her some visibility of change. Because if you don't want to change, you will not change. I don't care who you are, you can be the greatest coach in the world, but if the person you're coaching doesn't want to change, then they won't. Not until they are ready to change. And so my daughter at the moment, she doesn't want to change. But what you have to do is keep throwing out a whole bunch of seeds each day and hoping that with the right nurturing, the right soil, the right weather, the right amount of nutrients, then maybe not all of those seeds will take, but maybe one will. Maybe just one will take. And that's what I'm doing at the moment. And last night we talked about this roadmap to success, this roadmap from where she is now to getting her to where she wants to be. And that is back to a normal sense of life. Being able to go to school, being able to get back to her cheerleading, being able to socialise with her friends, loving life, doing all her cooking, doing all that kind of stuff, things that she's not able to do right now. And I think in providing her with some of that visibility, that helps her see a way out of this. And so we'll see. It's just another one of those seeds that hopefully it takes. It may not. But if she can see that there is a way out, then I think that certainly will help. Now, these are just my conceptual ideas, and often an idea that I think, wow, that's really good, she should really take a lot away from that. She doesn't take anything away from it. So only time will tell here. Only time. So, you know what's interesting? I'm driving here on the freeway, and just the level of patience that people have, you just wonder what's going on in their life to make them so angry. I was in the far lane. You probably heard me when I put the indicator on. A car that was clearly speeding, probably doing 10 k's over the speed limit, and came right up behind me. I got nowhere to go. There's no space for me to go between cars, and you can see them in the rear view mirror throwing their hands up in the air, taking their hands off the wheel, throwing their hands up in the wheel, flashing their lights at me. For what? For like 10 seconds while it gives me some space to be able to change lanes? Seriously, what's going on in your life where you're that wound up and that angry that you can't just have a little bit of patience to allow someone to safely change lanes? Yeah, curious. So don't be afraid to challenge what's going on. And another great example here is when it comes to your own body. If you're a long-term listener, you may have heard me talk about this before, but for many years I had shoulder pain, and not debilitating shoulder pain, but the type of shoulder pain that when I did certain functionally movements, but also when I was exercising in the gym, so like doing my bench press and stuff, I found that I could get to a certain weight and it would just hurt. And not on a 10 out of 10 pain scale, nothing like that, but it would just stop me from progressing forward. And so I put up with it for years, literally years. And I got to the point where I said, I've got to do something about it because I'm sick of it hanging around. Maybe there's something going on in there that can be fixed. And so I went to the doctor. You know, there's only so much that they can do. I then went to see a physio, and the physio I actually had a really good relationship with. I started to go to them as a physio, then picked him up as a client. Then we established a really good friendship, and now they're actually the daughter I'm going to see. She is actually I think you call it a sponsor. I'm not Catholic, but in the Catholic faith, when they go through their different things, they need a sponsor, and I think she's her sponsor. So you really value her and her family as friends. And I went to her for quite some time, getting the treatment, had dry needling, all kinds of things. And we got to the point where it just wasn't doing, it was getting a little bit better, but when I started to push back into the normal exercises again, it was coming back to where it was. So I asked her if I could escalate to that next level. I said, what's that next point? What would we do next? She said, well, I'd refer you to the sports doctor. I said, well, I think it's time to go there. So she referred me to the sports doctor, and whenever you're getting a referral, you want to make sure that it is the right person. It's an expert, an authority in what it is that they do. And this particular guy, he works with Olympic athletes and gets phenomenal results for them. So I went to him, and he put his thumb right in the spot, and he says it there. And I said, oh God, yeah. And he said, okay, I know what it is. He said, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a double course of anti-inflammatories, and 2 different sorts. He said, you take this one at night time, you take this one twice a day, half a tablet here, etc. We're going to do that for 2 weeks to see what your response is. No exercise, just some rehab stuff, but no normal exercise to give it a chance to rest. So we did that, went back. I said, yeah, look, it's helped a little, but I've still got the pain there. He said, okay, for this next week, do these exercises, like in other words, get back into your gym. Did that. And he said, then come back and see me. Did that, pain got worse straight away. Went back to him, he said, right, we need to send you to a guy that will give you a cortisone injection into your shoulder, but he'll do it under ultrasound so he can find the exact spot. So this guy, he works with all the elite athletes that are currently playing sport here in local. So it's based at Olympic Park here in Melbourne, in the city. So it's where all the big sports clubs are, all the AFL football clubs, soccer, rugby, all that kind of stuff. He deals with all of them. Fantastic facility when you go in there. So went in there and he puts the ultrasound on you and he finds the spot and puts the injection right in there, and man, it really did quite hurt. But he said, give it 4 weeks to take full effect and then get back into what you were doing. Did that, hurt as soon as I got back into the exercise. Yeah, I was pain-free for a while. It felt really good. But as soon as I got into that first week, the pain came back again. Went back to the doctor. He said, right, it's time to refer you to the surgeon. We need to get you an MRI, get you to the surgeon. Results came back. Went to the surgeon. He looked at the results and he said, right, here it is right here. He said, I think we can get you back to 80% of being pain-free. And he said, I'm 80% confident that you'll be pain-free. I thought, 80%, that's pretty good. But I missed a step. I went back to, doctor, he sent me to have an ultrasound. That's the step I missed out. The ultrasound came back saying that I had this thing called tendinosis, which is a thinning of a tendon. You've probably heard of tendinitis, which is an inflammation. Tendinosis is a thinning of the tendon. And they basically said that if you keep doing what you're doing, then it's going to tear because it's now so thin, and then you're going to require surgery. I thought, well, that can't be a good thing. I didn't want to tear anything. So I just went around for months thinking, I can't do anything. My weightlifting career, what I love doing in the gym, has ended because I now can't do it. Because I've said if I go heavy, it's going to cause this. And if I go light, I'm not going to be able to achieve the gains that I want to achieve. So I, in my mind, was starting to think, oh man, is this it? I'm only, in my 40s and I'm not going to be able to do the things I really love. That's a real pain. I don't like that outcome. So that's when I went to the physio, and then we went through to the rest of it, go through to the surgeon. He did the surgery and he fixed it. It took longer than he thought it would. He said he thought within 10 to 12 weeks I'd be right. It probably took me 6 months to be pain-free. I'm talking zero pain. And now it's a couple of years later on my right shoulder, and it's pain-free and really strong, better than it was before. I had the surgery on the left. I went and had the surgery on the left because I was having the same issue, and it didn't work as well. Went back, had the second surgery, and now I'm pain-free in both shoulders. So I've gone from a position where I thought that I may never be able to follow my true passion in lifting my weights again for the risk of injury, to being able to do exactly what I want and looking for personal bests every time I step into the gym on this part of the program that I'm doing right now. How exciting is that? I could have given up, but I said, no, keep escalating. Keep challenging the authority, if you like. Keep escalating to that next level. So I would encourage every single one of you, if you've been told that you can't do something, or this is an outcome for you that you feel doesn't sound right, or you're just not happy with because you want to be able to do stuff, then you need to just go to that next level. That person that you're seeing may not refer you to someone else, but you need to find someone else that will refer you to that next person. Normally it's your GP, your general practitioner here in Australia. They can refer you to whoever you like. I just referred somebody right now. They're having problems with their knee, and my surgeon, he does knees as well. I said, go to your GP, here's this surgeon's details, ask for a referral to that surgeon, and they will take care of you. He's taking care of me and my knee. So just keep escalating. Don't stop. Don't be afraid to challenge authority, because a lot of the time they apply a cookie cutter and that's not necessarily right for you. So if you want to connect with me, you can. Go to thementaltoughnessandbodyshow.com, opt in for that free consultation, and let's connect. Let's make 2021 your best year yet. Stay safe, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.